This video is sponsored by Squarespace, the place to go if you need a website. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not much of a dog person. I used to be, growing up we had dogs and I loved them very, very much. But as I get older and more bitter, I tend to prefer cats more. Even though I'm terribly allergic, they're just more chill and more suited to my lifestyle of being lazy. Dogs require a lot of work, and once again, I'm lazy. I personally can't see myself owning another dog for a long, long time. But what about a dog you don't actually need to walk? No physically picking up shit on the side of the road. What about a fake dog? For many of us youngsters, Nintendogs was the virtual pet simulator of the 2000s. Sure, there were other pet simulators like Neopets or Tamagotchi, but Nintendogs seemed to catch on more with kids who didn't even have an interest in gaming yet, in my opinion. It had more widespread appeal. All the kids at my school were adding the Nintendo DS to their Christmas list because of Nintendogs. Specifically, the pink DS Lite. I didn't have that one. Mine was white, and I was very jealous. The first batch of Nintendogs games released in 2005. We've got Chihuahua and Friends, Dachshund and Friends, Labrador and Friends, and the Japanese exclusive Shiba Inu and Friends. The bundle version with all the dogs' best friends was released later that year, and then in 2006, Dalmatian and Friends was added to the series as well. Each game featured its respective dog breed from the beginning of the game, but the other dog breeds were unlockable through gameplay. When I booted up Best Friends, I was greeted by the kennel doors and shown a few of the available dog breeds: Dachshund, Lab, Yorkie, Beagle, Golden Retriever, and the German Shepherd. We're able to play with some of the kennel dogs. Those ones are not adoptable. So sad. They'll never have families. I think I'm gonna go with the Beagle. I've secretly always wanted one. They're just so stinking cute. I chose a little girl, the one with the prettiest coat, obviously, and a tomboyish personality. She can't sit still and loves getting into things. Wow, we're two peas in a pod. Next thing you know, she'll be getting into my Adderall. 500 bones and we get to take her home. I think I made a good choice. She's simply gorgeous. Again, two peas in a pod. A huge component of Nintendogs involved the built-in microphone in the DS consoles. We get our first taste of it when naming our dog. I went with Peanut Butter. Immensely complicated. Yeah, I know.
Peanut butter.
Peanut butter. Peanut butter. Jesus Christ, how many times do I have to say it? I'm pretty sure she heard it. It's cute, damn it. We're sticking with it. Aw man, peanut butter's too long. Pea butter it is. Keep calling her name so she can get used to the sound of it? No, in actuality, you'll be calling your dog's name quite a bit, as well as using the microphone to teach it tricks. Naturally, the first trick is sit. You can prompt your dog to do actions using the stylus and then saying the trick name into the microphone. After a couple tries, your dog will learn the trick and add it to its trick list. There's quite a few tricks to teach your dog, the important ones being outlined in the guidebook, but there's many tricks that you can discover yourself through your gameplay. Peanut Butter learned sit down and lay down on her first day before she got tired of me yelling at her. I got tired of repeating myself. There's much more to this than shouting at your dog through a tiny, bad microphone, however. We have places to go and things to do. Under the shopping tab, there are several stores to visit. The pet supply is where you stock up on essentials like food and water, toys and accessories. You can sell junk you don't need at the secondhand shop, visit the kennel through this tab if you want more dogs, and buy new interiors at the interior decorator. You also need to take your dogs on walks through the neighborhood. We can draw out our route dictating where to go, and your dog's stamina builds up over time, allowing you to go on longer walks for longer distances. Peanut Butter, my little tomboy girl, also my trash girl. She loves trash. There's question mark boxes along our route as well, which can either be a visit with another puppy in the neighborhood or a present that Peanut Butter finds. Presents can have rare items, accessories, or junk that can be sold secondhand. Peanut Butter's totally pooped after our walk, and that is where pet maintenance comes in. Nintendo could have been a lot meaner with this, but luckily there's no way for your pet to die of neglect. In these early games, they would run away, but would return eventually with a present. So not really running away. Feeding your pet, giving it water, bathing it, brushing it, it's all very important for keeping your pet happy. A happy, fed, and clean pet will want to play and learn tricks and do better Butter in competitions. Once I taught Peanut Butter a good amount of tricks, I figured it was time to start entering her in some competitions. If you want to live in this house, you better work and make some money. The first round of each contest is the beginner class. Ted Rumsworth and Archie Hubbs host every competition. I always thought this guy looked like Jared from Subway. I still do. Once the competition begins, you just have to perform the tricks in order. You're scored by how quickly your dog executes tricks, their swag, and, of course, if they perform tricks correctly. Peanut Butter has a really hard time differentiating between lay down and sit down. This microphone will be the death of me. At the end is a free performance where you can bust out all your fun tricks for some extra style points. Peanut Butter did pretty good. I mean, she did great. She got first place, $100, and will now move on to open class. Attempting to train for the disc competition indoors is difficult. I tried it and yeah, we need to train Peanut Butter to come back with the disc properly and also, actually catch the thing. If we call her name when she catches the disc, she'll eventually start bringing it back on her own. The best way to get her ready for the disc competition is to take her over to the park. Luckily, we got in when it was empty, so she's able to train in peace. The next disc trial, we managed to bump up our score from 0 to 8 whole points and got second place. PB is ready for open class. We're now running into our first big roadblock. We can only enter 3 competitions per day. That's the lamest part of the game for me, for sure, but it forces the player to take it slow and really get to know their pet. I think it's a little throttling, that you can only enter so many competitions per day and teach Peanut Butter so many tricks before she gets annoyed. Take her on so many walks too, but that's nothing a little time travel can't fix. The next stop on our walk is the Agility Training Gym. Here you'll find equipment to train on for the agility trials. Jumping obstacles and big tube are what's available to us now, but going here before attempting an agility trial is very important because it's gonna have new things depending on what level of the competition you're in. She eventually gets the hang of the course enough for me to feel good about entering her in the competition. I'm so proud of my girl. She made it almost the whole way with no penalties, getting 1 on the very last obstacle, landing us in second place and getting us out of beginner class at least. My goal is to go for gold, baby, for every level of the competitions. The first round of competitions I wanted to knock out was the obedience trials, because I rightfully assumed that they would be the hardest to do. As far as I'm aware, you're only required to teach your dog the tricks that are in the guidebook, and all the others are just extra for swag points. Tricks are entirely dependent on how clearly your voice is picked up on the microphone. So enunciation and inflection are super important here. Your dog will get confused if they can't understand you due to the shitty mic quality, or if what you're saying sounds too much like another trick. You can call the tricks whatever you want though. You don't have to say the exact phrase that the game suggests. But once I started getting PB into the competitions, she was having a really hard time understanding what I was saying at all. It might have just been stage fright, but I noticed that spin and shake kept getting confused for one another. Some prompts also require you to hold tricks for a period of time. Holding tricks requires just more practice. You gotta yell at your DS a lot. Spin. I said spin. We got kicked out of open class and downgraded back to beginner the next time we competed. Yes, if you don't place, you get demoted and have to compete on the lower levels again. After this huge blow to our egos, I decided to have PB forget lay down and teach it to her again. This time, I just say lay and use a very specific inflection. Lay. This was a good decision because next time we competed, she was able to understand me a lot better and we got first place. Beg is one of the harder tricks to learn. If they're not loyal and obedient, they won't do it. I'm truthfully a little put off from teaching her anything outside of what's required because I don't want her to confuse tricks during the competitions. I felt that play dead was safe because it didn't sound like anything else in our trick list and I would remember my specific inflection and the extra drama of the way that I said it. Play dead. We're also having trouble with spin and shake. Ugh. Gotta relearn this one too. This time I'll say spin around. If the hardware was better, I think we would be having a better time. Next up, expert class. She's doing fabulous. Shake and roll over come natural to the girl. Oh God, beg. She can't hold it. She just learned this one. Oh, you poor thing. We didn't prepare you. She can sit for 10 seconds though. That's good. And she killed the free performance. Beg and spin around always gives an excellent remark. Noted. Second place. That's my girl. We now get to go into the masterclass and then the championship. Yeah, the best way to win in the obedience trials is to make your dog actually obedient. Who would have thought? You have to just be running through tricks, rewarding your pet, and making sure you got them actually listening and understanding you. The masterclass competition was going super well until Peanut Butter couldn't hear sit down. Really? That was our first trick, girl. Curse you, Nintendo DS. Honestly, I found myself quitting and restarting a lot so that I wouldn't get penalized for Peanut Butter's bad choices. If you quit the competition before the scoring, it doesn't save, which saved me a lot of headache of doing the competitions over and over and over again. Sometimes I did embrace losing because she really wasn't ready for certain levels of the competition, so I allowed the L's to be taken in the name of practice. Another huge thing for the obedience trials is hygiene. Pets that are sparkly, clean, and beautiful get higher marks. I'm not sure if accessories do too, but I'm willing to do anything at this point just to place. First place in expert class, again. Getting past the master class is the hard part. And again, she can't fucking understand me at all when I say beg, so I'm reteaching it to her, but with a higher pitch. Beg. I used a monotone voice for a lot of my tricks, and since this one is so important, I'll have to try, a different vocal range. This helped immensely. We finally made it out of the trenches and into the championship, the final level of the competition. But the hard part had just begun. I'm not just focusing on the obedience trial. If I do only that, I would go actually fucking insane. I would say the disc trials are the second hardest to master, but not nearly as difficult as the obedience trials since, there's minimal microphone usage. You just take your dog to the park and throw disc. Sometimes other dogs will be there though to ruin the whole thing. They want to play too. Where are your parents? We got second place in our first open class competition and then the same in expert class. We're barely scraping by though. I like to see gold trophies, not silver ones, so back to the park. There's 2, so there's a pretty good chance you can get in by yourself without any other dogs getting in the way. The reason that I would say that the disc competitions are a little more difficult is that the point threshold to place is kind of high. I found myself restarting just because we were off by 2 or 3 points and didn't feel like getting bumped down to the lower levels each time because it honestly seemed to just be by chance that we wouldn't catch every single disc. It's also all in the wrist. It's usually not totally Peanut Butter's fault. Sometimes I throw really shitty discs. We did end up getting gold in masterclass by chance, it seemed. She's really not that good at this though. They say on forums that certain breeds are better in certain competitions, and I never saw Beagle get mentioned for the disc trials anywhere. Peanut Butter's just gotta get her stamina up because in the championship, we really need to be getting like all 10-pointer jumping catches. Lots of resets here, skill issues, Peanut Butter is perfectly capable of getting 5 10-pointers in the time frame, but she's a natural fumbler, so we gotta do what we gotta do. It's the Beagle thing. Some of these competitors are getting like 50 points. And there's really only time for 5 throws in total, and then it varies how many points you need to get to place, and we're just waiting on some good RNG and a lower point threshold here. Oh my god, our highest score yet. She got 46 points. Is that enough? I wasn't paying attention really to what the others got. No way. First place. We did it! Oh, that's amazing, Peanut Butter. You're a star. That's a pretty good rap sheet, PB. Good job. Moving on to the agility trials, the most straightforward of the competitions. All you have to do is do obstacles correctly. Each phase of the competition throws something new at you. And if you don't train at the gym before entering, you'll sorely regret it. We didn't even practice on the seesaw before this run, so yeah, my bad. Back to beginner class. We've got this course down with one slight little fumble, but we're back in open class. Let's do some more practice. Put your back into it, Peanut Butter. Don't get lazy on me now. You don't want to go back to that kennel, do you? When it came time to do the seesaw in the competition, she naturally crushed it because we were so prepared. And the double jumps, no problem. That was an easy dub. Expert class introduces the poles. Peanut Butter has to maneuver through them, with our help of course. She eventually gets faster and faster at it, to the point where she doesn't even need us to guide her at all. She's a true professional. This was our best competition run yet, not a single mistake, and a time that would make the other dogs cry. She's ready for the masterclass. We went right into it since there's no new obstacles at this phase. The course is just slightly more complicated. It's my job to make sure she's doing the course in order since the obstacles are so close together. We did make one mistake, a mistake that landed us in 3rd place, but we're still able to move on to the championship. Again, nothing new here. Just gotta keep that time tight and avoid penalties at all costs. Okay, we did make one teensy tiny little mistake, so we landed 2nd place in the championship, which I was not happy about, so I went back and redid it because, come on, we all know that Peanut Butter's a champion. I have to at least place in the championship of the obedience trials. This is ridiculous. I hate that this portion of the game is dependent on the garbage hardware of the DS. It's so discouraging because we all know deep down that if this microphone was better, this portion of the game would be so much more fun. I can't blame it all on the hardware though. Peanut Butter needs to step up her game if she wants to win the championship. There's always a prompt to hold a random trick for 20 seconds at the end. And she gets so close, but she fucks it up right at 18 seconds. And I feel like the judges score a lot harsher in the championship. I don't know, maybe it's just me. There was a lot of resetting that went on here because you really do have to execute everything perfectly in order to place. While practicing at home, you can time how long your pet will perform a trick, and repeatedly performing it will make them better at holding it in general. But now she's having a problem with beg. Even though my tone changed, she thinks beg is jump or just doesn't hear it at all. I'm losing my mind here. Even if I think that we do well, those judge scores are brutal. She's still not placing in the championship. I'm thinking that the style points free section could help with that, but I really am scared to teach her any new tricks. I don't want to confuse little Peanut Butter, but it's bad. She's getting lower scores than ever. We have to do something. I looked up a new trick, wave, and chose to say, wave hello, so that it would be less confusing. It's not one of those tricks that gives an excellent in the free performance though, so that was a dud. And again, we're bumped back down to Masterclass. But now she's not even hearing some of our most reliable tricks correctly. I think at a certain point, need to give up the gun. Because this kind of sucks. I'm totally a quitter. The competitions are pretty much the biggest portion of the game. Playing in competitions will reward you with trainer points, which unlocks new breeds in the kennel. And of course, the money you win in competitions can go towards adopting new dogs. Maybe ones who actually listen to commands. You get trainer points from other things too, like going on a walk, brushing, bathing, the works. You also lose trainer points from being naughty, like neglecting your dog, overworking them, scaring them, and forgetting to pick up poop. Nintendogs also has online play integration in the form of bark mode, basically a way to form a local connection when nearby other players and meet their dogs. You can play voice messages for other players and exchange gifts. Nobody I know is playing this game, so my dog is doomed to be alone and have no friends. Womp womp. Sorry, Peanut Butter. Looking back on this game, I still think that it's pretty fun, aside from the microphone issue, and for how little there is to do, you know, it still holds a good amount of replay value. If you're into getting high competition scores and unlocking all the dog breeds, which not all of us are. What's really amazing about Nintendogs to me is how much pop culture relevance this game had. It really was crazy. It is the second highest selling game on the Nintendo DS if you count all of its versions. It's just one of those games that really transcended gaming in general. It felt like everybody and their mothers was playing it. In October of 2005, Nintendogs had a special event at GameStop in the US called Nintendogs Tricks and Treats Weekend, where players could go to the store and get a special relay cartridge with event exclusives, such as a visit from Haley Duff and her dog, and a pair of star sunglasses.
Hi, I'm Haley Duff. My Nintendog Bentley has a special gift for you. Have fun playing Nintendog.
The Duff sisters were really getting into the pet game market of the 2000s, weren't they? This was a charity event for Nintendo of America for the ASPCA, and I just think that's so cool. I love when there's in real life stuff with gaming like that. I think it's awesome. And the marketing around this game is just fascinating. Nintendo also released several console bundles with the Best Friends version as well. The first bundles included the original Nintendo DS in the colors Pearl Pink, teal and electric blue. But the shining star, the most beautiful Nintendo DS ever created, the pink DS Lite bundle with the paw print. That's my shit right there. God, I still want her. The sequel to Nintendogs was Nintendogs Cats, released on the Nintendo 3DS in 2011. This series had 4 versions: French Bulldog and New Friends, Golden Retriever, Toy Poodle, and the Japanese exclusive Shiba Inu and Friends. Each game has the ability to unlock the other breeds as well as other exclusive breeds through racking up owner points and playing for certain periods of time. The games were announced at E3 in 2020 and looked very, very similar to the original Nintendogs. And that's because it is very, very similar to the original Nintendogs, but in 3D. No, there are some differences in gameplay, specifically showing off some of the hardware upgrades between the DS and the 3DS. This game, of course, had its own console bundles with the Nintendo 3DS, but nothing nearly as iconic as the pink DS Lite. Coral Pink just feels wrong. It plays super similar to the original titles, but different enough for me to have a problem with it. You get to adopt an animal and take care of it. Training and doing tricks is slightly better in this version, but can we address the elephant in the room? What the fuck is this? I hate this touchscreen situation. I'm petting a silhouette of my dog, not my actual dog. It feels so weird. It doesn't feel personal at all. Am I crazy for thinking this sucks the charm out of the whole thing? Like, sure, the environment is nicer. It's all prettier. The graphics are better, but at what cost? No, there's definitely some improvements just in general gameplay. Training is now a little bit more tutorialized and similar enough to not be too weird. Toffee here learned 3 tricks in one day. Sit down, left paw, and right paw. And if you think those sound just similar enough for little Toffee here to confuse them all the time, you would be right. Left paw. No. Left paw. Not only is the house prettier, but so are the shops and things too. And the greatest improvement of all, Mii's. Yes, we've got Mii shopkeepers. And lots of shops to spend our prize money at. You can even get furniture for your home now too. I so desperately want to adopt a cat, I am fiending for it. All of these little kittens are just so stupid cute. Oh, look at those eyes. There's so many breeds and colors and options, but I just don't have so many monies yet. Probably my favorite upgrade is the walking experience. We're not drawing out a route like in the original Nintendogs, but we get to visit a few different places. We've got downtown, the mountains, and the seaside. And those places also have places. Downtown has a coffee shop and a gym, and both the mountains and seaside have parks for us to practice our disc throwing. The seaside park has a sandy terrain, which will be great for training up Toffee here for the higher level disc competitions, the ones with sand traps. And of course, like in the olden days, we get to meet and interact with our neighbors who are now Mii's instead of invisible entities, as well as their dogs. And our dog will bring us presents and piss everywhere and all that, the usual. And just like in its predecessor, Nintendogs Cats has 3 competitions: the disc competition, lure coursing, which is new, and the obedience trial. Each competition, of course, has varying levels to unlock. Do I have my AR cards ready? Oh, what the? Yes, the obedience trials in Nintendogs Cats requires you to use AR cards that came with your Nintendo 3DS. What are AR cards, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. They're fucking garbage. AR cards, or augmented reality cards, use the camera in the 3DS to place your game in real life world. So in this instance, your dog can be on the table in real life or whatever. You don't necessarily have to have the physical cards. You can download them on your phone or whatever you have, which is just as much of a pain in the ass, let's be real. And it's totally useless. All it does is distract me from the task at hand here. I looked on forums because I was searching like, how do I turn this shit off? And I kid you not, everyone was raving about this feature when it came out. I really just don't get the hype. Am I crazy to think that the whole AR technology just sucks? I just want to play the obedience trial without having to do all of that. Anyways, I simply will not be doing it. I'm sorry. I am a supreme hater, and I think forcing this upon the player is dumb, and I hate it. Okay, next up is lure coursing. We need to go to Bark and purchase a lure in order to participate. And we should probably go to the gym to practice, but screw it. How hard can the Junior Cup be? We just have to wind the lure and have Toffee chase it. If the lure gets too far away from Toffee, he'll start to slow down, and if it gets too close, he'll pounce. So we just need to find that sweet spot. Second place, not bad for my first time ever. We need to get first place in order to progress into the next level of the competitions, which is a little more hardcore than the regular Nintendogs. This game does allow us to enter into each competition twice a day, so 6 total if you're going all out. This game and system is just too smart for its own good though. You will be actually penalized for time traveling too much, so I tried not to do it. I didn't really feel much of a need to because that's a really good amount of competitions per day instead of just 3 total. As you progress through the cups, the lure coursing trials will throw new things at you, like more turns and jumping obstacles, reminiscent of the agility trials, I suppose. Initially, I was sort of sad that the agility trials were gone, but I really learned to enjoy lure coursing. It's pretty challenging, unlike the agility course, so it's somewhat more fulfilling than tap, 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 and hope your dog doesn't do dumb stuff. Learning how to properly lure course is a challenge. Definitely a lot of resetting here, I will say. Sometimes it's not even your fault that you lost. The other dogs will push you off the course. Those bitches. After getting so many owner points, you unlock better, faster, stronger lures. But overall, you need to just play a shitload and get your dog's stamina up in order to truly be a winner and, of course, train in the gym before each competition level. It takes a lot of time, and all of these dogs keep getting in the way. So rude. Disc trials are pretty straightforward, same thing as the last game, pretty much, with some added difficulty. Training your dog to come back with the disc is definitely harder now. Higher levels of the competition will introduce new elements like zone bonuses and sand traps. I like to avoid the sand traps, but not too much as to impede on my distance. Also, it seems to me that all the sand traps are in front of Toffee here. What's up with that? None of the other dogs get traps? Toffee would always have a really strong start, but not be able to keep the momentum going throughout the disc competitions. Other dogs are doing trick shots, Toffee. Get with the program. Everyone else is playing chess and we're playing checkers. But yeah, competitions are pretty straightforward. I would say it's a bit harder to get through the Nintendo Cup or Championship than it was in Nintendogs. Maybe it's because I'm not time traveling through it like crazy, but I feel like you need to spend a lot more time with your dog in general. I suspect that they throttle you until you complete so many days in the game. And yeah, fuck the obedience trials. I am just straight up not doing that. Sorry to be a hater. You might also be wondering about cats. I've been wondering too. With my competition money, I finally was able to afford one of those little stinkers. Obviously, I chose the breed and coloring that looked the most like Mimi, but I didn't want to name her Mimi because Mimi already does not like me playing this game. She gets very jealous. We'll go with Momo. Cats aren't really all that exciting, honestly. I was pretty disappointed. There's only 3 types available, but at least there's a lot of variation with coloring. They eat special cat food and have cat toys and everything, but they sort of just exist. Like regular cats, I suppose. You can't walk them or enter them into competitions or anything. You could buy them furniture, which they will climb on, but yeah, they just hang out. Sort of like a regular cat. Okay, I get it. I'm just underwhelmed. There's cat competitions in real life, you know. I don't know what they are, but they exist, I'm sure. I do like this game. It's, of course, a lot prettier graphically, and it sort of expands on features from the previous title. My favorite feature is now walks. I love directing my dog to go to new walking areas. The environment is way better. I love the interaction with other owners and pets. Getting invited to hang out with the other pets at the cafe is just the cutest ever. Like, come on. Shops are cool. Mies are sick. The competitions are fine. I like that they're harder to progress in, and lure coursing is cooler than the agility trials, I will admit. But I feel like this game leaves much to be desired. I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm just not nostalgic for it in the same way I am about the original Nintendogs. The camera in the 3DS is also utilized with facial recognition technology, allowing your pets to recognize your face and come up and give you little licks. It's cute. There's just a lot of improvements, but I think my biggest turnoffs are the dumb AR cards and the touchscreen. I miss the style of the old game. I don't feel like I'm petting my pet. It feels weird and disjointed. Like I said earlier, Nintendogs is the second best-selling game on the Nintendo DS. Second only to New Super Mario Bros. That 23.96 million number includes all of its different versions, but it's still very impressive for a game that's not Mario or Pokemon to sell that many copies and just take the world by storm. So why isn't it on the Switch? Well, I think that there's several reasons for that. Maybe one of them is the lack of the microphone built into the Switch. A huge part of the charm with Nintendogs is that sort of interaction with your pets. Sit down. Sit down. However, I think this argument might not hold up because Nintendo does integrate their app for some of their games in the microphone on your phone. Like in Animal Crossing, you can talk to people through the Nintendo Switch Online app, even though most of the time that ends up with you throwing your phone or your Switch across the room. The Nintendo Switch Online app sucks. I don't care for her. It's awful, so I'm glad that that was never a proposed solution. Even so, they could have come out with a Nintendogs headset or something, or some other wacky attachment to solve this problem, or even omitted the voice feature altogether, but they didn't. Also, I don't think that this game would be good without the voice features, even though it is dog shit. So then why isn't Nintendogs on mobile? Wouldn't it be the perfect game to put on mobile? It seems that Nintendo has at least explored the idea. A patent filed by Nintendo was discovered for a potential mobile virtual pet game, but no other news as of yet. There is also a sales aspect to think about. Nintendogs Cats and all of its versions sold 4.96 million copies on the 3DS, making it the 14th best-selling 3DS game. That's a lot of copies, but you know, it is a significant drop-off from their sales that the first game did. I hate talking about sales and sales numbers. I think it's boring as fuck, so I don't know, it's just a point I wanted to bring up. There was a Dogs and Cats game made for the Switch, Little Friends in 2018 and 2019, and even a sequel called Puppy Island was made in 2023 that looks very similar to Nintendogs. But it's not Nintendogs. Little Friends is from an entirely different studio. I'm sure it's great. It's just not the same, you know? I'm looking for that brand recognition, baby. I want the real shit. I'm not sure if I see a new Nintendogs game or even a port on the Nintendo Switch in the future. I imagine that as we near the end of the Switch's life cycle, that if there were to be a new Nintendogs game, it would probably come out on the next console. Perhaps it'll be a powerhouse release that gets people interested in the new console. Who knows? Maybe they could just surprise us and dump that shit on the Switch. Regardless, nostalgia is a huge seller, and I'm a sucker for nostalgia. All of my sources for the making of this video, as well as my usual blurb about the video, will be available on my website, listthelass.com. My blog, listthelass.com, is brought to you with the help of today's sponsor, Squarespace. There's tons of reasons why you might want to have a website in this day and age. Creatives, business owners, content creators. There is a gorgeous website template waiting for you on Squarespace. They have loads of professional and clean templates to choose from to help you make a good first impression on any potential clients and customers. And then you can customize it super easily from there. I'm a huge fan of how easy to use the editing tools are. Like the other day, I had to make an adjustment because my website was looking wonky on mobile compared to desktop. And doing that took me 2 seconds. It was so quick. There's great templates for merchants, artists and photographers, restaurant menus, blogs, if you're like me and you want to blog. Just about anything that you can think of, Squarespace will help get you started. Any type of business can benefit from a Squarespace website. For selling products online, they have easy to use e-commerce tools, detailed analytics, and use many third-party extensions we know and love to help you better manage your business. Also have your clients make appointments and send them invoices directly through Squarespace. It's great. Head to squarespace.com for a free trial. Go check out the templates, set up something, see if you like it. And then when you're ready to launch, head to squarespace.com/listthelass or use my code listthelass and you'll get 10% off of your very first purchase of a website or domain. So, what's your favorite memory of Nintendogs? Which one did you have? Did you also bring Nintendogs to the playground and mess around with your friends and dog stuff? Oh, what the fuck am I even saying? Did you also bring your DS to the playground and play Nintendogs with the whole school? Because that was the business growing up. I loved it. It was so fun. Let me know what your thoughts are on a future Nintendogs, if that's coming or not. Happy Stardew Valley update to all those who play. That just came out and I am obsessed. I'm so excited to get into it. Don't forget about my second channel, Lisspilled. I post more casual content over there. I hope you're having a great day and you continue to do so, and I will see you in the next one.